My name is James Emmett. I am a corporate disability consultant. I own my own company called James Emmett and Company. Plus, I work with the Postis Family Foundation and a project called Advice with Autism Speaks and Next for Autism, doing all the same things, working with companies, helping them build disability and autism inclusion efforts.
What's success look like to you? What's success look like?
So I think it's interesting, we just came from a panel. Success really looks like a company building a culture of inclusion for people with disabilities and with people with disabilities, right? Watching a company as the light bulb kind of goes on and they start to realize the business case of disability inclusion, plus begin to translate that into their business culture and into their brand. And so for me, success looks like creating opportunities on the company side for many people with disabilities, but also then watching how people with disabilities are built into a company's culture from an employment standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, and from an overall support standpoint.
Great, great. And what would your recommendation be to employers to build that culture, to start to build that culture?
Yeah, I think it starts by taking a look, doing a brief assessment, finding partners who can do an assessment to kind of help you create kind of a plan. I think a lot of times what has happened in the past is companies have wanted to hire people with disabilities, but they've really done it in a one-off sense, and so there's no strategic plan. So I think for a company, it's kind of taking a step back, looking at how people with disabilities can benefit across the company, doing an assessment of their HR policies and of their culture, and building from that plan, starting slow, starting with a pilot or two in one or two sites, and then taking those lessons learned and building it out across the company.
And we have met people who are job seekers and met people who are employers here at the company. What would you hope people walk away from this conference learning, understanding, getting out of this conference?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I do a lot of times is sit in translation between job seekers with disabilities and their parents and providers and companies, right? And I kind of sit in the middle of translating the business language to that group and the job seekers and service providers to the businesses. And I think one of the things I hope that job seekers come away from this conference realizing that, especially in this labor market here and now, there are opportunities on the company side, right? But you have to be prepped, you have to be ready, you have to understand what your three strengths are on your resume. You have to build it. You don't want to focus on accommodation first. You want to focus on selling yourself. Same with service providers, right? You have to focus on what do you bring to companies. And from the company side, I hope they increase their awareness of the business case, right? That clearly this is not about charity. Doing disability inclusion is not about charity. It's about hiring a brand loyal group of employees who are going to make your company different and change it forever. So.
What's your favorite part of what you do?
My favorite part is when somebody gets their dream job on the job seeker side, and my favorite part is when that light bulb comes on in a company, right? Especially when I'm working with somebody in a company who may be a little bit of a difficult converter that was really, you could tell, wasn't necessarily for this disability inclusion effort at his or her heart, and all of a sudden the light bulb comes on and say, I get it, right? This is about business case, this is about a great opportunity for folks with disabilities, but it's also about a great opportunity for us, and watching that light bulb come is just such on for a company is so cool.
And after we just had this discussion, is there something, a message, something you want to put out into the world that we didn't cover in our conversation?
You know, I mean, again, I think it's just a matter of getting started, right? We want to scale. There's a lot of good companies like Quest, like Cintas, like Walgreens here today who are doing disability inclusion, but every company, big and small in the country, should be having have a disability inclusion plan for customers, for employees, for their current employee base. Every company should have that, and I think that's what we're looking at next now is how do we scale and make sure. So for those companies out there who haven't tried it yet, find a partner, find somebody in your area, find us, find anybody, and get started.